Hello. Testing, testing. Okay, we're working. Right, okay. Testing. That was weird, but it looks like we're all up and running. Let me just reshare the stream. So I've been talking to myself for about 10-15 minutes. So let me go through everything again. Just let me know if you can hear me all right, and I'll just talk through who we've got. So we've got 8 tiers represented. I think we've got we've got 6 of the 8 champions racing tonight as well. So in pole we've got Victorta, also known as Ollie. He is the runaway tier 6 champion in the WRX. He's going to be starting from pole. It is a rolling start this time around. So he does have a chance of breaking away from the pack. We've got SD in P2 in the Z4 and Blade Runner in P3 in the 296. They were in Tier 5 White. Both of them multiple race winners, had really dominant rounds and had also some not so dominant rounds. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get the better form out of them tonight. Then we got Kieran and Ahmad from Tier 5 Blue. Kieran was third and Ahmad was second in their tiers. So we've got the McLaren 650, always very good on its tyres. We've got the Vantage, which is really good on low speed acceleration. We'll have to see how that does around here. Then we got Peckish, who was a reserve but actually finished runner-up in his tier 4. I think it was blue that he was in, or no, I think it was white. Really quick in his AMG, despite missing a round or two. Then we got Martin Kanata in his Porsche 911, who was runner-up to T-Bop, so they're lining up 7th and 8th in from representing Tier 4 Blue. And then we got Epsilon Delta, the dominant champion of Tier 4 White, lining up in 9th in the Ferrari 2458. Then we got the Tier 3 boys. We got Pyro, who managed to finish second, and he's actually qualified on merit for the Race of Champions for the first time. And he's in the Citroen, which should be pretty good around here, to be honest. We've got Higgsy in the Audi R8 Evo in 11th. He was the runaway Tier 3 champion. Might be a good dark horse to actually win this race. We've still never seen a non-Tier 1 driver win. So maybe it could happen with the rolling start, give them a bit more of a head start. Then we've got X90G in the 296, another one who's very, very quick this season. Managing to pull some good performances out of that 296 despite its bad sprint starts, which he's not going to have to deal with today. We've got Kellen in the Jag F-Type, the Tier 2 champion, just one season back down to Tier 2 and won it on his first attempt. We've got H Racing Green, who finished third in Tier 1 in the Audi R8 Evo. Another one who, I'm not sure if he's won a Race of Champions before. This might be his opportunity to win his first if he hasn't won one. And then we're just waiting for Platt to join. He is late. Let me just check. He won the last Race of Champions. Let's see where he is. If he's not, BX has already said he'll join. If Platt doesn't. Let me just write in the chat. I think they want to start without him so that they have an extra position. There we go. Let's see who's quickest in the practice anyway, whilst we're waiting. So it's like Kellen's got the quickest time in his Jag, so he was saying that the Jag's not good around here, but he's got the fastest. Don't know what lap times, what tyres he was setting those on. We've got lots of drivers on lots of different tyres here. Oh, okay, Platt's on his way. He fell asleep. Right, okay. While we're waiting, give me some predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win, and who are you cheering on? Who are your drivers from your tier that you're cheering on tonight as well? But yeah, let's see who is going to be starting on the quick tire. So it looks like our pole sitter Ollie is going to be starting on the mediums. SD is going to be starting on the mediums, and Blade Runner is going to be on the hards to start with. So that's interesting. Is anyone on the soft? Oh, Kellen's in the wall. Is anyone on the soft tires? It doesn't look like it. Oh, Ahmad's going to start on the soft, so maybe he'll be able to get to the front early on. It is feature race setting, so it's going to be 5 times tyre wear. So it's basically a feature race but it's an hour long, so 39 laps. All three, you'll be able to see all three tyre types are required here, hards, mediums, and softs, because it's a little bit longer and it just makes things a little bit more spicy with the tyre wear. Especially because some people, I mean, you're not going to be able to do too many on the softs, I don't think. Here he comes. Platt is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do if he's just woke up. No crashing people out. Platt will win again. Cheering on X9. Well, that's that. Okay. JP will retire if he can choose the track if he ever. Well, you have to go full time first. Right. Let's see. Platt is 15th. So let's go to starting soon. And let me also just check the event settings. We got the replays on tonight as well because we got the keyboard plugged in. So rolling start. Bop is on. 5 times tyre wear, 3 times fuel. That's all we need. So let's get going. Actually, I just want to see what Platt's going to be starting on tyre wise as well. Platt's going to be on the hards. Let's go. Let's see how many drivers can upset where they're predicted to finish as well. So, for example, Ollie would be predicted to finish last, but I have a feeling he won't because he's a very quick driver. Rolling start. Let's get going. Good luck, everyone. So the race champions, 39 laps. We're getting going now. Looks like a normal rolling start for everyone. Nice little head start for Ollie, our tier 6 champion. On the medium tyres in the Subaru WRX, leads us down into turn 1. Now, is he going to be able to... We've got some terrible camera angles to start with. Looks like he's got a little bit deep in turn 1, and Esti's overtaken him already into the lead of the race here. So Esti in P1 ahead of Ollie. Then we're further down, we've got Blade Runner, we've got Ahmad going side by side with Kieran. Looks like he's got ahead of Kieran. Now we've got Peckish, who's going to try and get past him as well into the run down into the start of Sector 2 here. He's going to go deep on the inside, and it looks like he's going to get that position. Kieran trying to hold it around the outside, and it looks like Ollie's actually got back past Esti as well, so that's a good little overtake there for Ollie to retake the lead after losing it in turn 1. Nice gold livery on Ollie as he takes us through turn 2. Ahmad on his soft tyres has managed to get past Blade Runner, and Peckish is trying to follow him through as well here. Blade Runner falling a little bit further back. Epsilon's got past him as well. Pyro's up into 8th trying to get past Kieran now, so Kieran falling back a little bit, and the tier 1 guy is still outside the top 10. There's Higgsy trying to get past Pyro in the battle between the tier 3 drivers. And it looks like Pyro's going to cover him off. H-Race Green up into 11th. Good start for him. Bad start for Kanata down into 12th. And the same for T-Bop. He's all the way down into 15th on the opening lap. But as we go up the hill, Ollie is holding off Esti pretty nicely. Esti in the Z4 is going to probably try and take advantage of the slipstream here to retake him down into turn 1. And it looks like Ollie is going to defend into turn 1, and he's going to actually hit the apex this time and cover off pretty well. It looks like Higgsy... Oh, there's a lot going on here. So we've got Kieran backing up a few drivers. Higgsy's managed to get past him. It looks like H-Race Green's passed as well. I don't know where Pyro's gone. Pyro's down to 12th, so he's had an incident somewhere. Kieran's falling behind about 4 drivers there in that one little straight. Pyro is cut off a little bit. So maybe had a bit of contact in that final sector, has fallen back. Same for Blade Runner, down to 14th as well. So all these guys squabbling, falling back from the lead, where we've got Esti still challenging with Ollie for position here. Ollie still holding him off, just got a 4/10 lead at the moment with this front train, with Ahmad tried to get past as well on his soft tyres whilst they are still nice and fresh. I see what he could do. Ooh, nearly gets a bit of contact with Epsilon there, who was very late on the brakes. And all these drivers having nice little battles. They are going to start getting caught by the drivers behind because they're going side by side pretty much every single corner. We've got H Racing Green already in 7th as well, but we're going to stick with these guys because we're probably going to go 3 wide into turn 1 here. End of lap 2, SD just has the lead on Ollie, and Ahmad trying to get through on the inside here, it looks like. Epsilon really close as well, so we're 2x2 into turn 1 here. Ahmad braking a lot earlier than everyone else. We're still side by side between Ollie and SD, and Epsilon is going to try and probably take the lead here. A little bit of contact, SD nudges Ollie out the way now. Epsilon's going to be able to get past. And SD just hold on to the lead for now. Epsilon on the mediums, both of them on the mediums actually. Oh, he gets a little bit of a bump around the corner. He's hopefully not going to get a penalty for that as he rejoins. Peckish all the way up into 3rd now as well, so he's managed to get past Ahmad as well. A lot of change for the position here, and Epsilon gets a half-second penalty. Oh, it's a full second actually for going a bit too wide and not lifting enough at the start of Sector 2 there. Still going side by side with Peckish. Ahmad behind. Iggsy has caught up. There's H Racing Green, there's X90G, there's Kellen and Platt. Pyro is up into 11th now, just a second off that battle. And Epsilon and Peckish still going side by side here. These two fighting for the championship in their own tier, and they're fighting for a podium position as it stands here. But it might be a few positions that Epsilon loses. Ooh, nearly a little bit of contact between them as well. But here is the penalty zone, so we're going to see Epsilon go onto the grass a little bit. I don't think it actually stops the slowing at all. So he's already down to 6th. It's going to be even lower because H Racing Green is going to get past him as well here. Let's see what our previous Tier 1 champion H Racing Green is going to be able to do it with Epsilon. He should just be able to go a little bit late, but Epsilon covers it a little bit late, but before the braking zone, so it's all right. And H Racing Green is going to have to bide his time a little bit. Epsilon a bit sideways between turn 1 and 2, and Epsilon covers it off for now, so he's lost 3 positions there. At the front, SD still driving around with Ollie. Both of them have been separated by about 0.4 of a second for this whole race, but haven't let anyone else overtake them. That's the crucial thing there. Someone is very far back. Maybe they've made a pit stop already. It's Kanata. No, he hasn't made a pit stop. He's just had a nightmare, I think. So bad start for him and a bad start for Blade Runner, who is 7 seconds off the back of P13 as well. But at the front, let's ride on board with Peckish, because he is the one who I think could be making moves fairly soon. He is going faster than he has done so far. Been a lot of battling in these opening laps. And a great run out the final corner by Peckish. And Higgsy, oh, something's happened to Epsilon. Oh, he span. Let's see what's happened to Epsilon. A little bit deep, and then he touches the grass and he spins around, and that is going to be a long way back for him. He's actually rotating back on the track, but he is ghosted, fortunately for everyone else, and he's 14th now, also behind Blade Runner. But at the front, I thought it was going to come fairly soon. Peckish has a run on Ollie now. Ollie's going to use the slipstream of Dr. Esty to try and stay ahead. That WRX does have really good acceleration as well, which he used to complete a lot of overtakes this season in Tier 6, but it's still not enough for him to keep that position on Peckish. Peckish's exit was so good, he's actually going to take the lead of the race. So that was some great traction by the AMG. Esty's going to try and come back at him, and we're a little bit 3 wide here. And Esty does get the position back, so really good defensive work here from Esty. He's not giving up these positions lightly, and Peckish has to try a little bit harder if he wants to get that P1 off of Dr. Esty there. A little bit wobbly out of the corner as well is going to give Esty a little bit of breathing space. And Esty, again, a better exit out of that corner as well. Yeah, the Z4 is currently leading the race champions, which I think might be a first. I don't think we've seen the Z4 win. Esty's really deep there. That might be it. Peckish is only 0.2 of a second back. He's going to have to go around the outside though. Ahmad's in the pits already, only on the end of lap 5, so maybe he's doing a 3-stop. And that is going to be the lead of the race, surely sewn up for Peckish, unless Esti can come back at him again. He is going to try and hold it around the outside, which is an unconventional place to try and hold a corner, but he's got a great run. He's just not giving up. These are some amazing overtakes that Esti's managed to do in order to keep his position, but Peckish, once again, at this corner, seems to be very strong, and Esti's going to have to come back at him a third or a fourth time at this point. Round the outside, Esti, unless Peckish goes a little bit deep, I think Peckish might be able to hold this up. We've got Higgsy and we've got H-Racer Green in the top 5 now, so some of the other guys are starting to drop back, and Peckish crucially has the lead, with Esti and Airfig Torta in second and third. What he'll really want now is for them to hold Higgsy up enough for Peckish to kind of start creating a bit of a lead, but Esti's not really letting Peckish get away on this infield section since he's been overtaken. Let's have a little scroll down and see where everyone is. We've got our T2 drivers in 6th and 7th. We've got Platt still in 8th in the Citroen. Pyro's in 9th, trying to catch up to these guys. He's not a million miles away. Then Kieran in 10th is starting to fall back. T-Bop is on a bit of a recovery in 11th. Epsilon, after his spin and his penalty, down in 12th. Ahmad, after his pit stop, has some clear air. He's trying something a little bit different. He was a bit further up, obviously. So he's still going to be in the mix, as long as he has some good laps this time round. And he's got 4 seconds to Kanata, who needs to do something here to get his race back on the go. So Peckish has a second gap. Airfig has dropped to 8th somehow. He's in 4th here. He's getting overtaken by... Oh, he just spooks himself off track. Bit of a Lando Norris maneuver. And he rejoins down in 8th place there, and he's got Pyro now trying to get past him. H-Racer Green and Higgsy is up in 2nd, so Esti, something's happened to him as well. Let's see what happened to Esti. So he's getting overtaken by Higgsy down into turn 3, or is it 4? I don't know, someone tell me what the corner number's called. And then yeah, H-Racer Green just follows him through as well. So these two are both Audis, by the way, same livery, different tiers. Oh, the replay stopped. And Peckish only has a 1.5 second lead over Higgsy at this point. I think he'd have liked a little bit more than that. Still looking good for Esti, but Kellen and Platt might be trying to get past him fairly soon. Turn 4, thank you. And Ollie's still ahead of Pyro, so let's see what Pyro can do on the run up the hill. Tier 3 versus Tier 6 this one. It's all starting to kick off now. And yeah, Pyro looking pretty in control at the moment. A little bit further up, how is Kellen looking versus Dr. Esti? Esti a little bit wide around turn 3. Is he going to be defensive? I may be slow, but I'm in front of you, is what he says on his rear bumper. And he's covered off Kellen pretty nicely there. Now Platt's going to probably try and get past Kellen. And there's not much he can do there. Kellen defends nicely. Gives Esti a slight bit of breathing space. Esti's still only 3 seconds off the lead here. So he's doing incredibly well for a tier 5 driver. Platt really putting some pressure on Kellen now. Both of them ahead of X90, and Pyro's still not able to get past Ollie for 8th place. Pyro is on the hards though, so completely different strategies at play here. X90G might try and get a move on Platt if Platt's not careful. So this is how to drive the Citroen. Well, how Platt's driving it, not how Pyro's driving it. Something happened to Pyro at the start. So 34s for X90G. We saw 32s in practice. Oh, Kellen's been punted a little bit by Platt there. So Platt's having to let him keep that position. And again, Esti's going to start driving away from Kellen a little bit. Although, oh, that might be a penalty for X90G. Let's see what happens there. Oh, and it's a second penalty for Natty. What about Pyro? Pyro's really putting some pressure on now. The mediums of Ollie, they're about halfway through on the front right. Potentially lose a bit of performance, but not enough to get overtaken around the outside of that corner. But these two should both definitely get past Natty. So that's quite a big penalty for Natty that he's going to be serving. Yeah, 1.5 seconds, but a 1 second penalty with the brakes applied is really, really brutal here. Poor corner there for Pyro's allowed Ollie to get half a second on him. So let's see how these guys catch Natty. Look how slow he's going. That's what 1 second does for you. He's going to be still in 9th place. He's still got a bit of pace, but Pyro's going to try and make it 2 positions in one straight because he's got to run on Ollie round the outside. Ollie defending really well there, making the apex, but Pyro's still going to get past with some good speed in between turns 1 and 2. X90G is going to try and get at least one of those positions back, with Ollie looking a little bit vulnerable now. Looks like the hards are looking a bit better than the mediums at this stage. It's going to try and go around the outside. Not quite working. There's something going on a bit further up. Kellen is, well, Platt's past Kellen, and now Platt's trying to have a go at Dr. Esti here. And Pekish's 1.5 second lead has been obliterated. So we've got Higgsy and H Racing Green will be battling for P1 fairly shortly as well. But Platt first needs to try and get past Esti. Esti's not going to make it easy for him. Platt just trying to do some different kind of lines through the corners, trying to see if Esti makes a bit of a mistake. And it looks like Higgsy has got ahead of Pekish there. But let's see if H Racing Green can get past as well. Pekish has a little bit of slip here. We'll have to go back and see what happened. Oh, he was already overtaken. So it happened on the infield section just before, in sector 2 basically. Now H Racing Green is going to try and get through into second as well. So it was a good couple of laps into P1. H Racing Green and Higgsy, the 2 Audis in P1 and P2 now. It's looking really good for H Racing Green to actually get another victory for Tier 1 in the Race Champions. And he's gone for it on Higgsy. They're still side by side. Pekish might be able to take a bit of advantage here. Higgsy off track. That might be a penalty as well for Higgsy and a position lost. Platt is past Esti as well. So Platt has 4 seconds to catch before he reaches the podium, guys. Higgsy gets away with it, doesn't get a penalty. And Esti's losing another position now to Kellen. So what we saw happen to Ollie a few laps ago, Esti started to fall back now as well. Got to keep his composure though. Pyro's ahead of Ollie and he's just over a second behind Esti. So Esti could try and stick with the slipstream of Kellen for a few more laps until his pit stop comes. We might see though some of the medium runners come in soon. So the top guys, H Racing Green's on the hards, Higgsy's on the mediums, Pekish also on the mediums. So are these guys going to come in yet? They don't look like they're in a rush to come in, despite Pekish being on really dead tyres. Then this next group of cars all carrying on as well, down to 9th all together. Then T-Bot trying to catch up to them. He's only 2.6 seconds off on the hard tyres, so it's not the end of the world for him. Kieran 4 seconds further back from him. Epsilon trying to recover. Then we've got Blade Runner on the hards. He's 25 seconds off the pace. Ahmad's the only guy who's actually made a pit stop so far. He stayed around about 4 seconds ahead of Kanata the whole time. So these two very similar pace, but Ahmad has a bit better tyre life in his advantage. Also doesn't have to put on the softs again because that's what he started on. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. I think he's going to end up doing a pit stop more than everyone else by the looks of things. So H-Racing Green has stretched his lead now to 1.3 seconds on Higgsy. He is on the hard tyres, and the hard tyres are a little bit better than the mediums at this stage, with Higgsy nearly completely dead on the rear right. It won't be too many laps before those tyres go into puncture territory. I think Peckish, I mean, his race is going well, but that front right is really struggling now. Lapping in the 35s on pace when he's set the fastest lap of 33.5 on lap 4. So he's already about 2.4 seconds off of his best lap time now. So is he going to risk pitting and coming out? I don't think he'll come out in any traffic though. No, he carries on again. So still a little bit too early for the medium guys if they wanted to do a two-stopper. Yeah, everyone's still carrying on. Epsilon is catching Kieran pretty quickly now. So who is the quickest guy on track? So H-Racing Green high 33s. He is definitely the quickest guy. No one else is anywhere close to the 33s, but let's see what Pyro's doing. He's caught up to SD now, trying to get into the top 6. The top 6 is the target if you're a tier 3 driver, to finish at least where you should in terms of the pace of everyone else. He's actually ahead of a tier 2 driver, but he's behind a tier 4 driver and a tier 5 driver currently still. Trying to see what he can do to get past SD, and then we got X90G just 1 second behind him. And then Ollie's still doing well for the tier 6 representation in 9th place. And Peckish doing very well, still very much out qualifying his position in the standings in tier 4 white. Yeah, Pyro's not able to get past SD in the infield section. Struggling maybe a little bit with dirty air, I'm not sure. Maybe just struggling being on the hard tyres in general, but SD's on the mediums. Looks like we're going to see... No, we're not going to see anyone pit. It was the dummy into the pits, and everyone's still carrying on, including SD. Peckish's tyres, this has to be his in-lap. It has to be his in-lap. We're 14 laps into a 39-lap race. If I'm Peckish, I'm probably going to try and chuck on... Oh, the softs very wide there. He's losing a lot of grip. His tyres are starting to slide out. But it looks like he's avoided the penalty. He didn't go too wide. SD a little bit deep there. That's going to open the door for Pyro to try and jump down the inside, but this is going to become the outside for the next corner, so Pyro having to go the long way round. Very, very, very difficult to do round this corner, and he's braked really late to try and do it. SD's trying to keep as tight as possible. Pyro loses out there unless he can cut back in. X90G right behind as well might join the party here. Nose to tail these 3 cars now. And SD going ultra defensive. And it's worked out for him so far. Still in 6th place after 14 laps is a really, really good return. And he has really good acceleration, SD, which might save him from getting overtaken by Pyro. But I have a feeling he might come into the pits this lap. Higgsy's in. H-Racing Green carries on. Peckish is in. SD actually carries on. Pyro's coming instead. He's going for the undercut. Ollie's coming in. He was starting to get caught by T-Bop anyway. And then we've got Epsilon who's coming in as well. So lots of drivers coming in. Higgsy is going to try and get an undercut done on H-Racing Green here. Coming in, he was 1.6 seconds off the lead. So not far behind at all. Definitely catchable within a lap. But it depends how much fuel he puts in. H-Racing Green's still on the hard, so he could carry on until his tank goes empty, basically. Looks like Peckish is out first on the softs, and I'm guessing with the amount of fuel, he's gone for a full tank. Higgsy's going for the hard strategy, which means he's going to be overtaken by a few more people than Peckish was. He's got Kanata ahead of him for sure. There's Kanata. There's Pekish out 2.8 behind Armad, who himself has caught up to Blade Runner very nicely. Blade Runner lapping in the 35s, just 1.1 second ahead of Armad, and then you got Pekish 2.7 behind on the softs. And then Higgsy is 6 seconds behind Kanata, so that's not as close as I thought it was going to be. So he's basically got clear air here. Now what's H Racing Green going to do? Is he going to respond and come into the pits, or is he just going to carry on? Looks like he's carrying on. He's not in a rush. Him and Platt probably on fairly similar strategies, both on the hard tyres. Yeah, Platt carries on. Kellen's not far back at all on his hard tyres as well. He's only 1.9 behind Platt. So he's still in the running for at least a podium here. And then X90G trying to catch up. ST's now in 1 lap later, and he was battling with Pyro, who's down in 12th. Pyro on fresh mediums. Epsilon on fresh softs, only 2.4 behind. So he might catch Pyro fairly quickly here. Well, he needs to. Obviously put in a lot less fuel because he's going to have to go onto a harder compound to finish the race. Bit of a shorter medium stint for Epsilon. And Airfic down in 14th because he will be on, yeah, he's on the hard, so he's doing his long hard stint now. SD looks like he's putting on the hard tyres as well because he went 100% fuel. And he's coming out now, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to be behind Epsilon, so that's really good news for Pyro, who didn't put in a full tank. Really good news for Epsilon, who really short fueled. And SD and Ollie, who are battling for P1 and P2, are now battling for 13th and 14th on these hard tyres. So let's see what they can do. He's got a good run. It might not be enough though this time. He might have to settle in, but SD's tyres will be a little bit colder than Ollie's. Platt is in as well. So he's the first of like a lot of the hard runners to come in. Pyro was on the hards as well, so Pyro's doing very long. He's either doing a very long medium stint or he's 3-stopping. It's a very long pit lane though, so I don't think 3-stopping is a great idea. Let's see what's happening a bit further up. So we got Platt and Natty in the pits. Pekish on his softs has just set the fastest lap of 33.3. So he's doing what he needs to do. He's definitely going to be net P1 in terms of he's going to be ahead of Natty. He's going to be ahead of Platt. Natty's coming out on the softs. What about Higgsy? Higgsy's coming through with a full tank on the hard tyres. He's going to be racing these guys who are just coming out of the pits now. There's Platt. Platt's on the mediums. Higgsy's on the hards. I think Platt's just had him covered off, so that's 2 positions that he's lost because he put a full tank in there, Higgsy. So he's going to have to try and stick with Platt as much as he can. It's going to be really difficult though. And then Natty's going for a very short, soft stint for the middle of the race, just like Pekish. So just 3 guys who've still yet to pit. In comes H Racing Green. Might get overcut by people. It depends what he's going to try and put on. He should be ahead of everybody if he puts the soft tyres on. But he might find himself in a bit of traffic if he puts the mediums on. Kellen carries on again on super dead hard tyres. Interesting strat. T-Bot also carrying on. What is he in? Is he in the AMG? Yeah, he is. So what is H Racing Green going to do? Looks like he's putting a lot of fuel in, so this looks like a medium stint. So Pekish is going to remain the net race leader at this point. Tier 4 Pekish. Platt didn't win the last one. Oh, whoops. Platt going for his first. I think it's not looking too good for Platt though. If anyone's going to win, I think it's going to be H Racing Green. He's got 6 seconds to try and catch up to Peckish on his fresh mediums, but he is crucially ahead of Xnati on the softs, and he is a long way ahead of Higgsy in the other Audi. Higgsy doing a long hard stint. Starting on the hards was definitely the better choice if you could make it work and you could stick with the front pack, who were battling a lot, to be fair, so it was good in the end to start on the hards if you had the pace for it. And it looks like it's paying off quite nicely for H Racing Green. Epsilon now has the fastest lap with 32.2. That is insane. Huge lap. Two incredibly quick laps, actually. When you think he is, if it wasn't for his spins and everything, he'd be in a very good position in this race. It's only 1.8 behind Higgsy. Obviously, he's on the softs. They are burning very quickly. But Peckish, who had the fastest lap previously, he's in the 32s now as well. We started this stint in the 33s. So what can X90G do? Can he actually do... He did a 32.4, so that's actually 0.2 worse than what Epsilon did. Very interesting. And he is going purple on this one though. Can't be having a tier 4 driver having the fastest lap, surely. So, Kellen, 10-second gap at the front. Crucially, he's only 18 ahead of Peckish, so he will lose a spot to him no matter how much fuel he puts in this pit stop. He's 24 ahead of H Racing Green, so he will lose a spot to him as well. He's probably going to be pretty low. He's going to be outside the top 8 potentially. Pyro's in 9th place on his mediums. He did put in a full tank. He is 2.4 behind Epsilon on those softs, going very quick. There's Kellen in the pits now. Kellen losing a lot of time on those very worn hards, and T-bopping as well. So let's see. Everyone's made at least one stop. Blade Runner's out in 13th. Kanata's out in 14th. Ahmad, who's made his second stop now, and he's on the hards, is down in 15th place. But he has done a stop extra. And maybe he's going to... Can you go to the end? I don't think you can go to the end. He's going to stop again, maybe for softs towards the end. So into the lead goes Peckish. Kellen coming out of the pits now. He looks like he's put on the medium tyres. Really struggled on that last lap because he lost half a second to T-bop on the last lap as well. Out he comes. He's going to be comfortably behind Pyro, but he's going to have lots of free air now, and he's off those horrible hard tyres. He's probably going to do maybe 10 on the mediums, 9 on the softs. Can you even do 9 on the softs? Maybe 12 and 7. That's probably what he's going to do. 12 on the medium, 7 on the softs to end. Looks like Higgsy and Epsilon having a bit of a battle now, so something's happened. Higgsy's about to lose this position. Is he going to go deep? He is. And that is Epsilon past Higgsy, who was leading the race not too long ago. Epsilon's had a big spin. Still doing well in 5th place. Of course, he's going to have to get off these softs fairly quickly. I think he maybe has one more lap in them. But he's looking super fast here. Doesn't have the fastest lap anymore. That's X90G with a 31.6 now. He might get caught on this lap by Higgsy with how those tyres are wearing if he's not careful. So yeah, doing very well at the start are the tier 4 white drivers, both of them in the top 5 on lap 21, mixing it with the tier 1, tier 2 drivers, ahead of the tier 3 drivers currently. Pekic with a 4.4 second lead. This might be his in-lap, unless he wants to try and eke out one more lap on these. And H-Racer Green getting caught a little bit by X90G, who's on the softs. 1.5 separates them at the moment. The thing is, the guys who haven't put on the hard tyres yet are in for a lot of pain at the end of the race. Obviously, it looks like they're doing an incredibly good job right now, but when they have to put on the hards, that's when they're going to come under the most pressure. Pekic in for his second stop. So the undercut worked really nicely for Pekic, putting on the softs, staying out for a good few laps, setting the fastest lap momentarily, getting into the 32s a couple of times. He's going to drop down now and hope that he doesn't come out in traffic. Higgsy not really able to close in to Epsilon. And maybe it'll be... No, Kellen's going to be ahead of him as well, so it might be T-Bop who he's going to be fighting with after this next pit stop. T-Bop, the champion of the other Tier 4, just set his fastest lap at 34.1. And it looks like he's actually going to be ahead of Pekic. Pekic actually put 100% of the fuel in, so he's dropped from first outside the top 10. Kieran's passed him, Ollie's passed him, Dr. Esti's passed him as well. And there's Kieran, you can see just ahead of him there. And he's actually going to be drag racing with Blade Runner down into this corner. So this is going to be a really long final stint for Pekic on these hard tyres. He needs to minimise the lap time loss. He has to be lapping in the 34s on these hard tyres solidly and not getting involved in any kind of battling with anybody else if he wants to make this work and still get a top result, I reckon. Big gap that he's got to make up now. But everyone else has to pit again and he doesn't, so that is the positive. Blade Runner on the mediums might actually fancy this position as well. Pekic might have enough to start driving away from him though. So let's do a little recap of where we are. Ahmad on the hards is going to have to pit again because he's only got 75% fuel left. 8 seconds back from Kanata on the mediums. Kanata, I think, is going to be able to go onto the softs next. Then we have Blade Runner just behind Pekic, less than a second behind Pekic as it stands. Pekic not having to make another pit stop now. Epsilon is in the pits as well. He's going to be going onto the hards, I reckon, too. Kieran is 11th. Epsilon's going to drop down out of the top 10 now. Ollie, still only about halfway into his hard stint. Still only about a second behind Dr. Esti, who's also on the hards, with a lot better tyre life in that Z4. Then a 10-second gap ahead of T-Bop, who's kind of the head of this group of cars. Then you got Kellen kind of on his own after staying out for so long on the mediums. You got Higgsy, who is behind Pyro now. So Pyro just lapping a lot better than Higgsy on these mediums. He's managed to get past his Tier 3 rival, and he's going to have to try and get away from him before the next pit stops. So things going a little bit south for Higgsy. 15 seconds off the lead now. And Pyro doing pretty nicely there to recover up into 4th place after dropping out of the top 10 at the start of the race. He's now ahead of a Tier 3 driver and a Tier 3 champion and a Tier 2 champion. He's just behind Platt by about 10 seconds. Platt's 2.5 behind X90. What are these lap times? They're both in the 32s, and H-Racing Green's in the 32s as well. So very consistent lap times between the three of them. Pyro to Tier 1. Well, there was a helper who thought he should stay at Tier 3 this week. There's nothing he can do to get out of Tier 3. We'll have to wait and see where we put Pyro though. And everyone else. All the Patreons, by the way, know what tier they're in for next season. And that got announced yesterday. They also got told the calendar today. So if you want to find out early, get a bit of early access into that kind of information, you can join the Patreon. The links are in the Discord. We've also got 2 more days. Well, actually, tomorrow night at midnight, I'm going to be shutting the sign-ups for Season 22. So if you're not signed up and you want to take part after that, you'll just be automatically placed as reserve. So there's your warning to get yourself signed up if you haven't done that yet. The returning track vote is going to shut any minute now, or it might have already shut, I'm not quite sure. Looks like Lago Maggiore will be the returning track, as X90G comes in now as well. So we'll have to see where he comes out relative to Peckish, because Peckish was the one who, and he is lapping in the 34s, was ahead of X90G before the pit stops, but he's had a few laps on these hards now. And then we've got the Spa 12 Hours coming up next as well. So qualifying for that's going to be next Wednesday. If you want to submit a team, there is time up until qualifying to submit one. We've got 18 teams currently, so we're going to have to lose 3 in qualifying, get that down to 15 before the race next Saturday. Looks like eSports as well, the sign-ups have closed, and there's going to be some changes made to eSports because of the amount of teams that have signed up, a record number of teams, but I won't give any spoilers away. I don't know if that information's top secret, but yeah, there's going to be some good stuff happening in that space as well. So yeah, lots of good things happening. Here comes Peckish, he's trying to get past Kieran, but it looks like X90G is going to stay ahead of him, crucially, at the start of this final stint. So X90G getting a nice little overcut done on Peckish. Peckish trying to get past Kieran here. Kieran's not going to make it easy. He squeezes him onto the inside and he gets that position very nicely, but he's got 3.5 seconds back on X90G, and he's on harder and more worn tyres. X90G on fresh mediums to finish the race. He might be able to get the lead of the race by the time H Racing and Platt come in, but they'll both be putting on softs to finish as well, so it's going to be hard for X90G to keep that position. He needs to drive perfectly basically between now and the end. But that's promoted Pyro up into 3rd somehow. Can definitely see who's sweated for tonight. Pyro definitely has. He's still comfortably ahead of Higgsy as well. Qualified for the ROC, Pyro did on the very last round last week, because he actually won his first race of the season and his first race in over a year in the sprint race in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, in order to qualify for ROC, you have to win a race during the season. That you have to be a champion of at least a race. that's how we rationalize it. And he's put in a solid job. He's dropped to 14 seconds behind Platt. Platt 4.4 behind H Racing as well. Let's see if there's any battles going on. Higgsy 1.3 back. Kellen's starting to catch up to them now, lapping in the 32s and 33s for Kellen. Much quicker than what T-Bop's managing at the moment, but T-Bop a solid P6 right now. We're going to see some really quick drivers on the softs at the end of the race. Almost everyone saved it. What's happening a bit further down? Epsilon's come out. Oh dear, what are these lap times? He did a 43 on lap 25. And that is from a mistake for sure, and he's got a second penalty here as well. So he was in a really solid position. He's going to be struggling on these hards for the rest of the race, I reckon. Ahmad's going to do a quick soft stint to end, but he's probably given himself a bit too much work to do if he wants to try and avoid finishing in P15 here. Pyro was racing Nations Cup. Of course he was. Forgot Nations Cup's on as well. That's being streamed on ALR. Kanata catching up nicely to Blade Runner and to Kieran here. Blade Runner on the mediums, Kieran on the hards. Blade Runner lapping 54.8, pretty decent for this late in the stint for him. Kieran lapping 7/10 slower. So he might be at risk of getting overtaken on this lap by Blade Runner. Peckish is just ahead of these two on his hard. He is driving away nicely from Kieran after he overtook him. Yeah, Blade Runner having a bit of difficulty here getting past Kieran by the looks of it. Unless he starts to chuck it. No, he doesn't feel the confidence. But Kieran's going a little bit wide around these apexes. Still covering off the position fairly decently though. So we must be getting... maybe we're about 3 or 4 laps away from seeing the first of the final pit stops. Some people will be able to stretch those softs in the final stop out a little bit longer than others. Here comes Blade Runner now. He's going to try and go around the outside. And Kanata ready to pounce if there's any time lost between these two, but Kieran defending very nicely there, keeps P11. Kanata is going to try and punish Blade Runner now. Porsche versus Ferrari versus, I think that's the McLaren. And yeah, nothing really. As soon as I leave this battle though, I know Blade Runner's get the move done, or maybe he's going to get it done now. A little bit wobbly for Kieran out of the corner, and Blade Runner is fully alongside. Kieran's got the inside line to defend though. Blade Runner doesn't really matter though, he might still get it. Deep breaker zone here, and yeah, a really good overtake for Blade Runner. He should be pretty proud of that one. Now Kanata's going to try and follow him through. Still some good positions up for grabs for these guys. If they can make their way up a couple more, they can still potentially, any of them, get into the top 10. Ooh, a lot of screeching there from the 3 of them. And 2 deep there for Kieran. This is Kanata's chance. Oh dear! Well, that's one way of getting the move done. Oh, let's watch that again. A little bit too much pressure, a little bit too deep. Trying to overcompensate clearly for going too deep and spinning the car instead. Yeah, tires on the grass. That is what happens. Never mind, he's now lost about 6-7 seconds to those guys. Doesn't have any damage though, and he's still comfortably ahead of Ahmad. So, looks like P13 might be on the cards for Kieran. We've got Peckish starting to catch up to Ollie. 3.8 seconds is the gap between those guys. Ollie on fairly worn hards, he'll be coming in a bit sooner than everyone else, I reckon. Then you got SD in 8th, only 2.8 behind Natty. So, I reckon, yeah, Natty's got past these guys. Because Natty's been lapping in the 33s and these guys have been lapping in the 35s and 36s. So it looks like he didn't have much trouble doing that while we were following that battle. Then you got T-Bop still in a solid P6 here. Doing really nicely, actually. We're not seeing much of him in this race. He's just was kind of in P10 on his own. He had some kind of setback on lap 1. Caught up to the pack, so didn't really lose too much time to everyone because of all the battling that was going on. I'm pretty sure he started on hards, then he's moved on to mediums, so he's going to finish on the soft tyres. We shall see. X-Natty's going to go all the way to the end of the race here, so he doesn't have to stop again. H Racing's going to stop fairly soon. His gap ahead of Platt is 5.2. Might be seeing an Audi victory in the Race of Champions. I mean, we've got a whole new car selection coming up for Monday League. So this is good to kind of see how these cars are performing. If you're thinking of your list of 5 car choices. We do have a BOP update next week, I'm pretty sure. So some of these cars might end up getting a little bit of a nerf. So keep an eye out for that before you commit to any specific car. That's also kind of applicable for Oh, it might not be applicable for the Suzuka because we might have qualifying before the BOP update happens, and then you're locked into your car. The Suzuka 12 hours. Oh well, it'll be still. It'll be done just in time. Here's Pyro into the pits though. It'll be done just in time for Monday League though. You'll have plenty of time to get your testing done. I think there's a few cars that need nerfing. I think the new Porsche is too fast. The Audi is probably a little bit too fast. The Citroen's a little bit too fast. They need to nerf the Citroen starts, to be honest. If they nerf the Citroen starts, I think they could deal. We could deal with everything else. So, is this for the soft tyres as expected for Pyro? If it is, he's going to get a lot of on-track overtakes done. The update's this week, is it? I think it's next week. Someone do a quick Google for me. Oh, is it this week? Okay. Ban the VGT. Well, just all VGTs. So Pyro looks like he's out. He's going to be close between him and Peckish. There's Peckish in P10. I think Pyro's just going to cover him off. Yeah, he hits the braking zone early, and that's really important because Peckish is on warm hards and he's on fresh soft. He's going to easily drive away from Peckish here. He's driving a very, very good race, and I hate saying that, but yeah, we need to see a good old classic Pyro spin, but we haven't seen one of them for a little bit of time. Platt follows him in, he's the next one in, but H Racing Green carries on for another lap, which he can afford to do with the gap that he's got. Pyro 1.2 behind Ollie. How do you know there's a BOP update? Well, a little birdie told me that a World Series driver told him that certain cars are going to get nerfed. I don't know how they know, but if anyone would know what cars are going to get nerfed, I think it would be the World Series drivers. And there's also 3 cars getting released as well, which they've already teased. Usually when cars get released, there's a BOP update by default. Especially because we haven't had one for a little while. So here comes Pyro on Ollie. Is Ollie coming in? Ollie's not coming in, but SD is coming in, so that's interesting. So what's Pyro going to do? He doesn't know which way to go. He's going around the outside. And that was a very easy overtake around the outside for Pyro there, using the tyres well to his advantage. Up into 7th. He's got 11 seconds to try and catch Natty on fairly worn mediums. It's a tall order. It's a tall order, but maybe he could do it. Having to cover off Ollie a little bit into the braking zone now, he should be able to drive away. Platt has come back out in 4th, and he's got a 3-second penalty. That's brutal. He's actually going to fall behind T-Bop with that 3-second penalty. In comes H Racing Green. Higgsy's going to come in fairly soon. Kellen's going to come in fairly soon. Kellen's got a bit more fuel actually, so maybe he's going to stay out another lap. He's put a lap on Ahmad as well, down in 15th. Ahmad has made his last pit stop and he's put on the mediums, so he didn't feel comfortable enough to go on the softs there. So Kellen is going to become the the new race leader once again. And what about Platt? Platt's just served his 3-second penalty. Higgsy's in, T-Bop's in, so let's join Pyro. Let's see where he shakes out with all of this. Is he going to be ahead of Higgsy? He's just set his fastest lap at 32.8. You need to be in the 32s at this stage, even though X90 set 31.6, which is just crazy fastest lap there. Let's see what the tier 1 guys can do now. Everyone but Kellen looks like they've made the final stop, and maybe Ollie as well, who's still in P7. Higgsy coming out, he's going to be in 6th, make that 7th, because Ollie's going to be ahead of him. He's going to have to overtake him as well. Peckish in 8th on those hard tyres. Citroen's really good on acceleration, and you can short shift it massively. Like, people don't even go halfway up the shifter. There's an easy overtake for Higgsy, by the way. So yeah, it is very good. It doesn't have the great top speed though. You just have to know when to get on the throttle and have the confidence to do it, and you're pretty much sorted. So there's Kellen finally in the pit. So H Racing Green is going to take a 7.5 second lead ahead of Platt on the fresh softs. X90G on the mediums. He's already lost a couple of seconds to Pyro. So his job now is essentially bring home a podium for Tier 2. But unfortunately, for anyone who wanted a non-Tier 1 win for the first time ever, it's a Tier 1 1-2 currently. Is Kellen ahead of Pyro? It looks like he won't be ahead of Pyro. So this is great news for Pyro, although he's going to have slightly more worn tyres for the rest of the race than Kellen. Pyro's only 9 seconds away from a podium. Can't let that happen. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to Higgsy's race in that middle stint. I guess starting on the mediums, he was obviously battling at the front, but he was battling at the front with all the hard runners. And then he had a tyre disadvantage for the rest of the race. But on the flip side, maybe he wouldn't have got to the front if he started on the hards as well. I think he would have, to be fair. It's harder to get through the pack though, that's the problem with the worst grip. Bit further down, let's do a little recap. So Ahmad is last by about 6 seconds. He's on the fresh mediums. Kieran's on the softs, so he should be able to at least keep P14. Blade Runner's on the softs in 13th, sorry, just behind Kanata, who's also on the softs. So everyone's on the softs here. Got Ollie just outside the top 10 on the softs. Has a couple laps younger